What's this? A letter for me.
Welcome to another episode of Rather Great Sports Through the Mail Thursdays. Today I'm going to share with you a couple returns that I just recently got back in the mail. One of these is one of those multi-signed cards, and I'm very happy to get as complete as I can get it complete. Another one is from a featured major leaguer from a long time ago. And another one is from a major league manager from the 1960s. So we're going to jump right into this first one. And it is a return from former manager of the Cincinnati Reds, Dave Bristol, on 1, 2, 3, and a fourth as a coach on the Montreal Expos under Gene Mauch. And this card, unfortunately, everybody has passed away that's on that card except for Mr. Bristol. So let me tell you about Mr. Bristol and his career in baseball. Bristol was born in Georgia, however grew up and attended high school in Chattanooga, Tennessee. He went on to play at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and then later Western Carolina University. A right-handed hitting and throwing infielder, he never played in the major leagues. Bristol, however, played in the minor leagues in the Cincinnati Reds farm system, and at just the age of 24 years old, he became the player coach of the Hornell Redlegs of the Class D New York Penn League in 1957. By 1964, he worked his way up through the Reds' minor league systems, where he was coaching the San Diego Padres of the PCL, where he was just age 31. This team featured future Hall of Famer Tony Perez, and he won a pennant and playoff title, the 5th league championship in an 8-year career at this point. His 9 seasons from 1957 to 65 as a minor league manager, his teams won 652 games and lost 562. In 1966, with his loyalty to this organization, Bristol was named to the Reds coaching staff after Don Hefner struggled in his first year managing. Bristol took over the club as manager on July 13th of 1966. At 33 years old, he was the youngest manager in the major leagues that season. Bristol guided the Reds through 3.5 winning seasons, but he was dismissed following the 1969 season, where Sparky Anderson would take over, and obviously the Reds would have a little bit of success under Sparky Anderson's tenure. The messed up thing is that Bristol actually had a record with the Reds of 298 wins and 265 losses. He led the Reds to an 89-73 season and lost his job after winning 89 games, which is kind of wild. So Bristol was at the helm of basically being with the best organization in baseball, more or less, to going to the worst organization in baseball. After losing a job in 1969, he decided that he was going to go coach the Seattle Pilots / Milwaukee Brewers. In an interview, Bristol said, "We weren't even sure if we were going to play in Seattle or Milwaukee that year," which they wound up playing in Milwaukee in 1970. And at 37, Bristol was the manager of the Milwaukee Brewers in their first season. Well, the Brewers went 65-97 that first year in 1970. 1971 wasn't much better. He did improve to 69 wins, but he also had 92 losses. Well, the 1972 season rolled around, and unfortunately he got off to a 10-20 record, and he was relieved of his duties with the Milwaukee Brewers. After being let go by the Padres, 30 games into the season, he would then go to the Montreal Expos, working under Gene Mauch for a couple seasons. And in 1976, he would reemerge with the Atlanta Braves midway through the 1977 season. And the circus of life continued for Bristol because, if everybody remembers, this is when Ted Turner sent Bristol on leave, more or less, and that was not voluntary leave, and named himself the manager of the Atlanta Braves. Well, this only lasted for one season, or one game, where Ted Turner had to basically give up his reins citing major league rules that forbade managers or players from owning stock in a team. This wound up being the worst season in Atlanta Braves history, where they finished the year with 61, 101 losses. He was fired at the end of that season, and then he resurfaced in 1979 with the San Francisco Giants. So in total, after his stint with the Giants, he did go on to work for the Philadelphia Phillies for a couple stints, but also went back to the Cincinnati Reds for the time, for a little while working for them as well. So despite having one of his best seasons, well, actually it was his best season and being let go, Dave didn't hold bitterness towards his organization, and the Reds actually wound up, ironically, putting him in their Reds Hall of Fame in 2018. So for a manager that was fired for not winning anything, he wound up being a Hall of Famer with the Cincinnati Reds. After retiring from professional baseball, he actually went to Andrews, North Carolina, where he retired, and he actually wound up helping the Young Harris College baseball program. Young Harris College is in Georgia, however, he lived in North Carolina but commuted back and forth to help out with that program. Well, because of his contributing efforts to Young Harris's college baseball, they put him in their Hall of Fame in 2021. So another thing I want to point out is recently, in the last few years, in Andrews, North Carolina, they actually renamed a park, or an area of a park, Dave Bristol Park. So if you're ever in Andrews, North Carolina, you can actually see Dave Bristol's park. And it's kind of a fishing type of area, from my understanding. And again, I'll put the link down here at the bottom. You guys can check that out. So if there's any viewers in the North Carolina area that happen to be around Andrews, go check out Dave Bristol Park. You never know. Maybe you'll see him there. All right, so the next one that I want to talk to you about is, you have seen a couple of these cards already on my channel before. And if you recall, and I'll post it down here at the link, I got Steve Busby to sign 2 of his rookie cards a little while back. And again, it'll be down here at the link or at the end of this video if you want to check it out. But I wound up sending them to George Doc Medich, and he signed those 2 to the best of their abilities. Also signed a Pirates card and a Yankees card for me. So, unfortunately, like I mentioned when I did the Steve Busby video, Dick Colapart has passed away. So I kind of drug my feet a little too long on getting this card signed. And so this is as complete as I can get it in 2024. So let me tell you about George Doc Medich and his baseball career. Sitting at an opposing 6'5", 225 pounds, the University of Pittsburgh pitcher and football player, played tight end for Pittsburgh as well. He attended high school and was not drafted out of high school, and instead wound up being a multi-sport athlete, and was not highly regarded as a prospect. As a matter of fact, the Yankees drafted him in the 30th round. 30th round draft pick, George Medich. Well, the thing is, George decided to sign his professional contract. However, what was important to him was his education. So George signed to play with the Yankees, and in 12 games, he had a decent year his first year in 1970. But more importantly, George stayed in school. He actually wound up going to medical school while he was playing in the minor leagues. And that, of course, got him the nickname Doc. So Doc Medich is how the nickname stuck, because he was, attending medical school while he was playing. So Doc wasn't really sure what he was going to do, and he stayed in medical school while he toiled in the minor leagues for the New York Yankees. Well, obviously the Yankees were a pretty big powerhouse at that time, and they were just trying to turn around and become that powerhouse in the 1970s that they did. Well, Doc moved up in 1971, again had a decent year in A-ball, but in 1972 he posted an 11-3 record in 17 starts with a 1.44 ERA in Double-A that year. Well, because of that, Doc got called up to the major leagues with the September call-up in 1972. Unfortunately, things didn't go so well on his major league debut. He faced 4 batters in that debut, giving up 2 singles and 2 walks. Well, he didn't have a very good outing that year, and that was the only game that he pitched in 1972. Well, in 1973, expectations weren't too high, but Medich made the starting rotation. In his rookie season, he posted a 14-9 record with a 2.95 ERA, finishing 3rd in the American League Rookie of the Year balloting. In 1974, Medich won a career-high 19 games for the Yankees and tied teammate Pat Dobson for most wins on the team. However, the next year, in 1975, his record went to 500, posting just a 16-16 record. And after that 1975 season, the Yankees decided to trade him to the Pittsburgh Pirates for Willie Randolph, Doc Ellis, and Ken Brett. So this is how Willie Randolph became a Yankee and became a staple for the Yankees for many, many, many years, both as a player and a coach. Medich was excited moving back to Pittsburgh, his hometown team. He went to the University of Pittsburgh. But he spent 1 season there, and he actually got injured, posting just an 8-11 record with a 3.52 ERA. Most notably, though, during that 1976 season against the Philadelphia Phillies at Veterans Stadium, a 73-year-old spectator actually went into cardiac arrest. Medich performed resuscitation on this fan. So he saw that this person was having this heart issue and actually went into the stands and saved this person's life. Unfortunately, the fan did not survive, and he wound up passing away the next day at the hospital. Well, he would only spend that 1 season with the Pirates. After the incident in the stands, Medich actually was very happy because he was trying to finish up his medical school. So in 1977, he was very upset because the Pirates, because he was still trying to get his medical degree from Pittsburgh, the Pirates decided to trade him to the Oakland A's. He posted a 10-6 record with the A's that year. However, after Charlie Finley was unable to get him to sign long-term, he was then traded to the Seattle Mariners in September. He was 2-0 with the Mariners with a 3.63 ERA, and the Mariners put him on waivers. Well, the Mets decided to grab him, and he was selected by the Mets, and he made 1 start with the Mets. Well, the next year, he became a free agent. He actually was considering retiring because he just received his medical degree, but instead, he was lured across to Texas, and he signed with the Texas Rangers. Well, with the Rangers, he posted a 9-8 record in 28 games his first year with the Rangers, but also, the Doc came to the field again. During a game on July 17, 1978, between the Rangers and the Orioles, he revived a man suffering from a heart attack again. So this was the second time that Doc came to the aid of a spectator that was at the stadium. This time, though, the man did survive and lived several more years after that resuscitation from Doc. Well, Doc would finish that season with the Rangers, posting a decent 9-8 record, and he would remain on the Rangers pitching staff all the way through 1982. And in 1982, before the end of the season, the Rangers decided to sell his contract to the Milwaukee Brewers. Doc would finish out the year with the Brewers and then decide to hang it up and retire from baseball and work in the medical profession. In total, Doc would have 124 wins and 105 losses over an 11-year career. Doc would then, again, like I said, focus on his medical career after finishing up his 1982 season. I'm not going to talk about this too much, but let's just say that Doc had some issues with his medical practice, I guess you would call it. So if you guys want to research that, I'll put it on his Wikipedia page down here, and you guys can read about his medical stuff. but I'm not going to talk negatively about him on this channel. That's something that I don't do about people. But I want to thank him for taking the time to sign my cards. I also want to thank Mr. Bristol for taking the time to sign my cards as well. I hope you learned a little bit about some guys that you may not have known about, especially Doc Medich, and the fact that he saved somebody's life while he was a baseball player. So, look forward to your comments below, and as always, happy collecting.